Flowers and plants grown in Hawaii enliven homes and businesses and any gathering from holidays to celebrations of life. Today, the imaginative Neotropica style blends flowers and plants from Hawaii. Grown at hundreds of farms and nurseries across the state, they are treasured by designers around the world. Hawaii's diverse climate zones are ideal for vibrant, long-lasting flowers and plants. The Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association held a series of workshops, island tours, and a Breeders and Growers Forum in the fall of 2023.
My home in Vancouver, Canada, so I wanted to do inspiration from the indigenous, which are dream catchers. So this was pulled from that inspiration. So it's basically just tubing, or you could use a hula hoop, anything like that. And it's just, we covered it. My mom helped me out. Thanks, Mom. Covered this in just a jute twine. And with Dreamcatcher, up there too, we have a lot of fisheries. And so when I see this pattern, I see kind of a whirlpool and I see fish. And so using the anthurium, and then of course red is a Canadian color, so I'm kind of pulling from that to build this up right here. Some of the banyan root that I have here, and I'm gonna put this right about, I think we're gonna hang this, okay. So pardon my back momentarily as I just slide this in, and I'm gonna hang my little dream catcher in my tree right here. And pretty much I'll probably add just a few more finishing touches here, but my gateway to redemption.
Wow.
Thank you. So Canada,
my gateway, yep,
and
Hawaii.
let's see the explosion over here. It's about to happen.
Yeah, so the red mimics the lava, and this is all wire and tape. I cut all the ginger heads off and I wired it. I soaked it in water overnight, and actually it works very well. It's very strong, and I did it for the anthuriums because I cut off the life support of the stem. So I took that and I just wired all individually to make my cascade. I love the ginger. And then my final one is a bigger one, but I added some gold elements. It's the same process as I did with the wire and the paper. And the paper I use is origami paper. It's a foil paper, and it comes in 2 different colors. So you can use anything. It's, this technique is, you can do anything with it. And then from here, I just add it in so that it mimics my volcano. And that's it.
It's beautiful. So we come full circle with our gateway to redemption. And I think I speak for both of us that we really appreciate everybody that came today to join us here, and especially the whole entire team who put this production together. I mean, starting from way back when and all the organization and to bring an event like this together. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much, and thank you, Sue.
No, thank you. This is like full circle, and I really appreciate everyone. It's a Monday, and I know that everyone, usually has to work on a Monday, but just for you to be here, to be open to learn, despite of everything that's happening. I mean, with Maui, my dad's from Lahaina, so it's, it hits us differently, but I thought that with flowers as part of the senses of healing. Yes. So I'm glad that you're here. Yes. And On the island of Oahu for Celebrations 2023, students were given a bag of materials that consisted of homemade glue, cardboard, a variation of tropical and temperate flowers. The objective was to build a construction using the cardboard and the glue.
You can even use this short piece like this so that you really have these, it's not just one solid block of cardboard.
Each design was different. There was no design that was alike.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Magoon Research Facility. This is the research, primarily the research and instruction facility of the Department of Tropical Plant and Soil Sciences. So I'm one of the faculty members at the department, and my focus is orchid and anthurium breeding. So I do work closely with growers, HFNA in particular. We have a very close relationship with growers and industry for both orchid and anthurium.
We are Waiholi Botanicals. We're a landscape and ornamental plant nursery. My name is Nathan Miranda. We've been running this nursery for almost 20 years. This November it's going to be 20 years. So this is Anthurium brownii. It's a really tough indoor anthurium. Yeah, floral arrangers like to use the cut foliage. Bromeliads, I kind of fell in love with Alcantarias and Vricias because they don't have thorns. These ones are all beautiful bromeliads. But yeah, if you have a shady spot in a garden and you want to add pops of color, they're really good.
The plumeria collection was actually started in the mid-1960s. Wealthy horticulturist Kama'aina Donald Angus walked into the horticulture office at the UH campus one day and said, "I'd like to give you some money to start a plumeria collection." Well, you know, university departments are never adverse to accepting money. So they said yes. The person who got tapped to manage this was a young graduate student named Ted Chin, who ultimately also became a technician for one of our plant breeders, Dr. Jim Gilbert. And the early collection was established several plots down the road from where we are now. This is actually the fourth iteration of the plantings over the past 60-some years. So this is one that I would like to try some breeding with because it has a good structure, good heavy branching, evergreen foliage, rust resistance, flowers heavily.
Hello everybody, I'm Scott, the owner of Plant Hawaii, and there's several of us that keep this thing going. We'll see the rest of my gang as we're walking around. But I just wanted to say hello to everyone, and I have a landscape design background, and when I took it over, I was going to make this my mecca and grow all my own stuff. Because we had so many orchids that came with the place, I was trying to sell them off, and people were always asking, "Can you do arrangements?" And it was asked over and over and over again. So I was like, this must be a thing. So I started a florist division, and so this is our kind of our workshop. We have a couple workshops. This is one of our workshops. And this is also where we do our shipping. This is our shipping department. So we fluctuate between shipping and live and cut? Live, just live, yeah. Yeah. So this is a certified nursery. Yeah. So we sell online and we deliver on Oahu for free.
The attendees were fortunate to visit was David Urian's tea collection, and this was in Waimanalo.
His property is incredible.
I raise tea leaves and let's go for a walk.
Such a treat to be able to just purchase them right off of the bush.
Yeah. What a variety. Are these varieties you've seen before, or are they new to you?
They're new to me. So the White Knight, I feel like I've seen something similar to it.
This one?
Yep. Not exactly that. I do a lot of like wreath work for Christmas and stuff like
very
that.
cool.
So like and leis and stuff like that. So it's always nice to make bows, like like.
Oh, I
with the tea
see.
leaves, yeah.
That's cool. So you're finding new inspiration and these colors and varieties.
Yes.
That's so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
What's your favorite about today so far? If there's just one, no.
No, there's so many
So
because
many.
there's so many different varieties of tea plants, which I did not realize.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
this
seen
is like Meli Kalikimaka, which is Merry Christmas, which is very appropriate there. So for anybody thinking about coming to one of these shows, this is my first one, I would highly recommend it.
The celebrations presentations was selected to educate all of us in Hawaii and on the mainland and Canada to use more Hawaiian flowers in our designs, to inspire, to create, to make people feel the aloha from Hawaii. The millennial, the Gen Z, and the Gen Alpha, those three generations are upon us. It's all very closely connected. And it's the largest demographic, larger than the baby boomer Gen X. So we're gonna have, like 50 years ahead of us. So I'm very optimistic. I have 3 sons that have joined our family business. And if we do things right, we bring in on the next generation, if we educate with our college curriculums and have programs to embrace the young, or the young at heart too, into our industry, there's fantastic opportunity ahead of us. Business opportunity for the entrepreneur, the business people. There's a lot of opportunity, not only in Hawaii, not only on the mainland, but this is a global phenomenon that's going to take place. I just wanted to just let you know that it's good. It's a good time to get into agriculture and floriculture. I'm going to also remind you, we have a website of the association, HawaiiNeotropica.com. Please go to that website. You have videos from past celebrations, activities. You can watch a lot of different videos. We have grower videos, design videos.
My name is Tim Farrell, and I have been a retail florist for almost 41 years now. I do feel this is one of those businesses where you never get bored. There's always more things to do, more things to be excited about, more flowers being produced, and the product always changes. So I love what I do, and I hope to do it till I'm 100 years old. And I grab the bind wire and then, I should hold it this way actually. And then just circle it a couple times, pulling it as I'm doing it. And then I'm gonna twist it together. But, doesn't the ironwood just make it though? Like it just adds something else to it that's like, wow. And like, if you could imagine, probably walking down the aisle, it's just gonna give a little bit of bounce and a little bit of motion. So what we wanna do is, there was more I wanted to add to this because it's being a holiday wedding, and what if we add the dendrobium garlands? And then maybe what if we just add a couple of these in through here? But if you add a little something extra in, that's what people will talk about, your business and what you do. And yeah, she could be about 7 feet tall, couldn't she? Yeah. But like, wouldn't it, even just like kind of like held down and cascading down along the side could be really fun. But like, look at all that glitter and glitz and, beautiful things. So wouldn't that be a fun bouquet to make? Yeah. There we go. Thanks, Johnny.
Again, Christmas theme. So we had the tropicals that came in from Greenpoint Nursery. beautiful anthuriums. Then I thought, well, I wanted to put some torch gingers in them because they're always a big hit with the brides that come in from the mainland. They're like, what is that? So Emma beat the bushes for me. And so I have the torch gingers in here. The cymbidiums people are used to seeing, but I mean, they're always beautiful. I put in some hellebores, which is a flower I have never touched in my life. But I thought, wow, I went into the floral wholesaler and I said, oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll take that. So anyway, I kept adding, and then I thought that my daughter-in-law, Yawadi Shrimak, she raises these beautiful dahlias. So there are going to be some on the table that you can use in your arrangements too. But I put in her lovely white dahlia there. And then we had the peonies that came in. So the peonies are there. Nice white roses. And then I just decided to color it all with the red anthuriums. And right now the red anthuriums are being a little disobedient. So they're going wherever they want to go. So the trick that I will do when I'm not talking is we have these sticky dots. And I was horrified when somebody told me, oh yeah, why don't you put some glue dots on that and then they'll stay in place. And I'm like, what? By golly, it works.
This is what I call the where'd you get that look. And I think that in big business, the term that has been driving businesses for the last 20 years is branding. Brand, brand, brand. Become the brand, become this. And many businesses spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to have the same color boxes, the billboards, the paintings on the side of trucks, you know, packaging, this and that everything kind of leads to your brand. You do something like this and somebody goes, oh my gosh, where'd that came from? I'll just use my shop name. It came from Farrell's Florist. Where'd that come from? It came from Farrell's Florist. That's great. You do something for a wedding and people start asking, oh my gosh, the flowers are beautiful. Where'd they come from? It came from Farrell's Florist. Where'd it come from? It came from Farrell's Florist. Do that 2 or 3 times and all of a sudden, if this was say the 4th time, people walk in and say, oh my God, that's gorgeous. I bet it came from Farrell's Florist. Ding. You've just used this to brand your business in a way that customers know you're the person to go to. I am a firm believer. We have the most beautiful product in the entire world to work with, but what's up here is what can make the big difference. I think of retail florists especially as being a very honorable profession because I think we get to take some of the most beautiful things that God has created and make something else beautiful with them. But our process of doing that is usually to help one human being express emotion to another human being. And that I think is a real honor and a gift. And I take it very seriously. So when we can make those connections with people that way and do that, our profession isn't a very honorable profession. And it can give us a great career and it can really connect us to our customers in all the important moments of their life. I'm Tim Farrell, and I'm here with Rob Malhotra at the Kauai Seascape Nursery. And we're up on a hill here. It's in the beautiful island of Kauai. And we just took a fantastic tour of this nursery where they have so many beautiful plants for people on the island to come and to buy for their landscape needs.
So we have several different sections within the nursery. A lot of it is just basically according to plant size.
Okay.
And then the next step is full sun, partial sun, or shade. So, and we try to break it up more into shrub sections, tea sections, houseplant sections, and even succulents.
Some of the hybrid hibiscus plants were just gorgeous with incredible color palettes to them and patterns that I've not seen elsewhere. You have beautiful lipstick plants here. You have crotons and palms. The terrestrial orchids were like no others I've ever seen. Next up, we're at the Kauai Ag Station, which is an extension of the University of Hawaii. They do a lot of research here and plant things and keep some great data on these plants, which plants do well on this island at this altitude and with the type of soil that's here, so that they can pass this information on to growers throughout the islands. Kauai Nursery and Landscape. This has some incredible specimens of palms and blooming plants that people can use in their landscapes on the island, but also can be developed as cut flowers for us to use in our designs. We were able to produce a workshop for 25 designers to join us and experiment in using some of the tropical as well as temperate flowers in our designs. And each student was asked to try to replicate the design that I created or go off on their own using the principles and elements that were taught in the workshop. This is the container. This is part of the, I believe it's part of the Eco-Essential line from the Smithers Oasis Company. So this is a container that is biodegradable, actually. It feels like plastic, it's not. It takes a long time to break down, but it will break down eventually. But I love, isn't the shape of that container just really, really interesting? You know, it almost has like a wave kind of to it. So I like the fact that it's not so static and so sharp or so square, but it'll work nicely with that. So the question I usually get at this point in time from most students is, I thought you're never supposed to use even numbers. Has anybody heard that before? Yeah, the rules in floral design. The arrangement always needs to be 1.5 times the height of the container. Never use even numbers, always use odd. You can't combine tropicals and temperates. There are no rules in floral design, none. So if anybody says there's a rule, they're wrong to begin with. There are guidelines and there's suggestions for people to start, but it is an art. And once we learn the art, we can kind of break those guidelines and bend them and sometimes snap them in half, as long as we know what we're doing to kind of balance it and make it a beautiful creation in the long run. We spent a great amount of time afterwards reviewing the designs and looking at each designer's interpretation of what was done. And I know for me, it was a great experience to learn from the other designers. And I think the whole group learned from each other and walked away from this being a better floral designer. How many times have you made floral designs before?
This will be my second time making like an actual floral design thing.
Pretty darn good, huh? Second time, that's great.
So it's hard to kind of achieve these kind of linear and the minimalized kind of style design. So I actually just used barbecue skewer to like pierce through each of these thick hanging heliconia stems. So it can just stand by itself. So you create this kind of like a banyan root cloud here. So it's time for me to put the flower in. I use red raffia and then these leftover mason jar ring. So this is a good way to reuse and repurpose them. So I create this disc. So the good thing about this disc is it can hide your mechanic, hide your water tube. So it's just easy just to put it in like whatever direction you want. like this, and put your flower in. So the banyan root will hide your the green water tube for you. Obake anthurium. So these actually can insert directly in the water. I found this. So the iron tree actually is like, we see it everywhere on the island. What I do is I just insert this directly. Now, I think just this one little branch kind of like changed the whole atmosphere of this design. Because now, these arrangements have negative space, and then they have movement, and then it kind of like interact with the environment around it.
Big part of Hawaii, when you're in high school, after you graduate, everybody has leis up to their ears, on their arms, everywhere. But you really start learning how to make lei when you're in elementary school. So the first one we learn how to make is a tea leaf. This is a single tea leaf lei made out of this material, the tea leaf here. This one has a lot of different uses for us here in Hawaii. And then if you want to get fancy, you can cut up the tea leaf itself into little strips, and you can add it to your lei, and you'll get a tea leaf with extra tips. We call this tea leaf maili style. I know a lot of people have a hard time getting maili nowadays because of the forest, over picking, over harvesting. So this is a good alternative for maili. It's also long lasting. This lei is our akuli lei. A kuli is an ice plant. It is also sown in the kui style. For those of you familiar with ice plants, you know that they come in a variety of different colors. Here on our island, the popular colors are strawberry, which is a fuchsia pink. This one here is a Maui pink. It's a more corally salmon tone to it. We also have baby pink. We have red, orange, and yellow. The colors are seasonal. So this time of the year, mainly the pinks bloom. Closer to spring months, you'll see more abundance of the orange, yellow, and red. So a kuli lei, it's a famous Waimea lei. It started off with back in the days of paniolo. So paniolo are the Hawaiian cowboys. They needed something to hold down their hats while they were riding on their horses. So they would adorn their hat with a lei. And in Waimea, everybody had this plant growing in their yard.
And so I chose actually a sympathy design. And I'd really like to make a tribute to the Maui fire victims. I like it to be more about remembering what they've contributed and how fabulous all these people were and celebrate their lives. So as a celebration of life, so this is like an easel, but it doesn't look like a usual easel. It has a little bit more flair to it. It has a mandala in the middle. It's like a circle of life. So I just want to go through this. You know, there's a couple of heliconia that has a little bit of peachy tone to it. So it fits into the peach and orange and red combination. It's really analogous color harmony. It's very beautiful. And I like the earthiness of the banyan root because the brown really brings it earthy. And it really is a perfect fit with this combination of materials. So we have Aranthera, orchids. These bromelias, aren't they not the most stunning Guzmania? The peach, it's so beautiful. Also, the pincushion. It's really interesting that we got these pincushion that's kind of blown open. You know, a lot of the protea growers says, oh, you can't use those. Those are done. Like mainlanders, like, we love it. Those are daisy-like. We love those. And you can see with its button in the middle there, it's just like really happy flower when it opens up like that. And I just love it, and it really draws your eye in because of that openness. I think that's really beautiful. This rattlesnake ginger is awesome, and I did ask for it, that kind of peachy orange, because again, it has a peachiness at the closer to the lower part of the bract, and it turns into orange. I mean, it just fits into this color palette so beautifully. It exactly connects this to this, right? So that's what you're looking for, is that kind of trying to connect the extract colors out of each flower. And if you use any of those colors, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Jennifer Snyder. This is my husband, Bob Harris. This is our nursery, Orchid people. We love it. We have a wonderful time. It's seasonal. We're just coming into flower now. We're all in bloom.
In bud.
In bud, and it's just beginning.
We do both cut flower and potted plant. And it's about 50-50. The seasons are a little bit different because a lot of the potted plants are warm-tolerant varieties that we've developed. There are certain species of cymbidiums that are known for having warm tolerance, growing in subtropical regions in Asia. And once we identified those, we started breeding along those lines by combining those warm-tolerant ones with some of the cooler ones that had more color and had more shape and more form, and were more interesting than some of the warm-tolerant ones. And so over the past 15 years, we've been developing our own line of warm-tolerant cymbidiums.
Welcome again to Green Point. Started in 1976. It started by Harold Tonoy, Eric's father, and Eric joined him later on in this business. And now Eric has 3 sons helping him. Yeah, we have Mark, you know Mark, we have John, and then we have Chris. Primarily we grow anthuriums. So we grow about 40 different varieties of anthurium, and mostly bred by University of Hawaii. And then we diversify too. We don't only ship anthuriums, we ship tropical flowers and foliages like heliconias, yeah, exotics like rattlesnakes, spectaculars, also foliage, monstera, hala, you know, lawai, you name it. We have what we can find or what we grow here. Yeah, we'll clean it and then we'll ship it for you.
What gave rise to Puna Flower Power was the Puna eruption in 2018, which devastated the orchid industry here on the Big Island. The majority of the orchid growers were located down in Kapoho, and of course that wiped it out. The impact on the industry was tremendous. And so the mission of Puna Flower Power was to regrow the orchid industry, especially the potted orchid industry here on the Big Island. We grow primarily dendrobium orchids and oncidium orchids, although we also have a few vandas and cattleyas.
We've actually got a few different type of agriculture practices in place. So where we intercrop, we do some border cropping just for pest management. This particular place, the slope allows the water to kind of pool in this area, and so there's lots of dirt. And heliconias, they love dirt. So we also have different kinds of tea leaves. This variety in particular is long stem. You want something with a longer stem. When it's short, then it's kind of hard to play with. So we look for things that will help the florists with their design. This in particular can last 4 weeks in water without changing color. And so here we do a little bit of hula-sized tea leaves, just for that small special group of florists that call and say, hey, I really need those really big ones. So you'll see some of our Scenaria eucalyptus. We have citrifolia as well. The trees are now maybe 40, 50 feet. So with this information and data, we're looking at, okay, this grows great in this area, so let's plant a little bit more of it.
Kilo Orchid Farm. We are a wholesale orchid nursery, so meaning we don't have any retail. So a lot of the plants you'll see today are going to be in their early stages. We like to ship things out before they start to flower, or usually even budding. So you'll see things in spike or low spike or not spiking at all. We ship all over the country and to Puerto Rico. You can see we grow a lot of pretty big variety of different things. We have Cycnodes, Mimodes, Maxillarias, intergenerics, Cattleyas, a lot of different species. Complex hybrid is basically, like the name says, it's been hybridized and mixed so many times. We do breed our own as well, so we do make some crosses ourselves. So you'll see some things you can only get here.
Welcome to the HFNA Breeders and Growers Forum. My name is Gordon Inoue, and I am your moderator for this forum. The goal of this forum is to bring breeders and growers together to share their perspective in the plant development field and their goals and concerns in reaching those goals. Today, we are very fortunate in having a broad range of forum members representing all of the major counties of Hawaii and some of the leading researchers in Hawaii agriculture. This is a general question that I can pose to both the researchers, breeders, and the farmers. How have changing weather patterns and climate variability impacted your farming practices and decisions?
We live in Upper Kapahi on Kauai, and we get a lot of rain. That's why I like to come to Hilo. But my suggestion, because of the weather changes and not enough rainfall, it does rain a lot on our farm in Upper Kapahi, but in the same breath, I have installed irrigation throughout my entire farm in case there comes a time when we don't have rain. So that's my suggestion, to just be prepared for the worst.
Joanna, what do you think the effect is going to be on agriculture in Hawaii with the changing weather patterns?
I'm not a climate scientist, and I am relatively new to Hawaii, but it's going to be interesting to see how resilient or sensitive Hawaii's ecosystems are to the changing patterns overall. I think we're in one of the worst droughts in a few years, and Matt mentioned this as well. And if an ecosystem, if minor changes to it cause big disruptions, that could be very difficult. From an entomology perspective, those abiotic factors are really going to affect the plant's health, and then you're going to have secondary pest outbreaks, or pest outbreaks, which will be secondary to the abiotic stressors. Abiotic stressors are bigger stressors for the plant than any biotic stressor, and we tend to forget that because we are so focused on the biology, or the biological part of it. So it's going to be difficult, and then additionally with the supply chain issues that were being mentioned as well, and the cost of management of these things, and the difficulty of getting labor and labor costs. So I think we're already seeing that these issues are getting exacerbated.
Thank you, Joanna.
Mm-hmm.
Russell, in your 17 years of experience, what have been your observations and your thoughts on farming practices?
The biggest issues growers tend to have is when there's these major weather events that cause huge issues, like I consider drought a major weather event as well, but especially windstorms, increased hurricanes is probably going to be an issue that we're dealing with, and the damaging effects there, droughts which are leading to fire damage.
Neil, what are your thoughts?
So I think what businesses got to do, they have to harden their farm. For good and for bad, sometimes you can get extreme heat or you get a lot of rain. So you have to be prepared. Whether to get a storm, when the storm comes, you have to be ready too. So I think we continuously try ways to harden any opportunity we have to harden the farm. Make the greenhouse, make the shade house stronger, more drainage, and so on and so on. Yeah.
Hannah, from your experience in working with the farmers on Maui, what are your thoughts on climate change and challenges that it poses?
Yes, I concur with many folks, Matt, Neo, Russell, Joanna. I think especially after the Maui wildfire natural disaster, that increased resiliency is huge. So having more water tanks, having more irrigation, having fire-wise plantings, maybe incorporating windbreaks into your farm, fire breaks, fuel breaks, and also having weather stations. I know Joanna uses those for monitoring pest populations. I think on the prevention scale, if you can monitor the weather, be ahead of everything, and really prepare and set yourself and your farm up for success, we can kind of evolve and adapt and hopefully learn how to continue growing and being resilient despite the climate change, drought, and increased weather events.
Thank you, Hannah. On the island of Kauai, James, what are your thoughts in terms of how we address this going forward?
So, go into a little bit of plant breeding background history. I know talking with folks who were doing vegetable breeding, one of the things they've said in terms of their breeding process has been for things like hurricanes, like Russell mentioned, trying to breed stronger roots, breed for more flexibility, less brittleness. And I think, with a 14-year timeline for Anthurium cultivar release or, similar things for some of these other plants we're working with, maybe those breeding goals are, a few decades away from being realized, but then seeing how we can support some of those things through other actions in the meanwhile and starting to just screen materials for some of these traits that we see are going to be happening. There's a lot of great science on water use efficiency, I think, in various plants, and, a lot of work done on how to measure some of these things. I think here, there's always active discussion also about the tourist industry and how to kind of interface with that. That uses a lot of resources, some of which farmers need as well, growers need, florists need. And so kind of having some of those conversations as a community as well to how to get everyone their equal share or their rightful share.
Thank you, James.
Aloha. Thank you for joining us on the Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association's 2023 webinar, A Spirit of Hawaii Neotropica. My name is Lois Teranaga, and I will be your host on Maui Island. I would like to thank the many people around the world who have supported us during this difficult time because of the devastating wildfires that have affected the areas of Kula all the way down to Lahaina. We have a very special program planned for you. So here in this piece, we started with a wreath form and first inserted and dispersed the king protea and attached it with zip ties. The next step was to then come in with the jungle king ginger, which is this darker one here, and again disperse that throughout the wreath. These beautiful gingers came from Maui Tropicals and Foliage.
My father and I started this back in 1979. Our original farm was about 15 miles in towards Hana from the haiku farm we have now. And we've been acquiring all different types of heliconias and gingers and foliage for the past 35, 40 years. And we're still collecting. Love what we do. We tried to be as diverse as possible and all aspects of the industry, the different commodities, beehive, heliconia, strictas, carabeas, all the new hybrid gingers, the Darwin from Australia, the Darwin series, as well as exotics, costus, zingiber.
I'd like to introduce to you Emi Fukushima and her mom, Joyce Fukushima. These are the ladies that strung these beautiful leis in so many different styles.
Like, these are the single strand Ilimas mixed with orchid, like these.
Beautiful.
And then this one has crown flower in between of the Ilima. And then we have it with the outer petals.
And in this case, I see you've used the white crown flower, and it has just the heart of the crown flower.
Yes.
And in this case, you have the purple. And
Purple
it has,
crown flower.
yeah, purple crown flower, and then it has the whole flower.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. And then in this case, you even have different styles of stringing where you would call this your single.
That's a single.
And
then right here we have a double lantern Ilima with the orchids.
And then again, a single with the white dendrobium.
White and purple dendrobium.
This one flower, the crown flower, has so many different ways you can string it.
And this one right here, this one is 5 strands sewn, and then it's twisted together to make one lei. And this one here is the whole flower, and it has 3 strands twisted together. This one has just the outside of the crown flower, just to make a petal lei, crown flower.
Amy,
yeah.
How many petals would you think is in this lei?
About over 700.
Oh my gosh, over 700 flowers. Very, very pretty. And then?
And then this one is a double strand. One strand is with just the center of the crown flower. This is with the whole. And then this one is all with the center, the hearts of the crown flower, sewn on its side. And this one is our deluxe crown flower lei. So this one is sewn into rings. And then there's one more flower inside of here. And then it's sewn all together on top.
Hi, I'm Raven.
And I'm Sean
Sykes. We own Atrium. We're a wholesale flower importer and farmers of Protea.
Here on Kula, Maui, at the beautiful 4,000-foot elevation. It's our farm here.
We have kings, pincushions, 3 or 4 different varieties of banksias, leucadendrons in safari, jesters, and a pretty green, lime green leucadendron. And, kangaroo paws.
Yes.
Can't forget the kangaroos.
Yes. When we knew that this place was for sale, it just lined up as the perfect opportunity to make sure that we wouldn't lose this genetic stock.
Here we have a tropical nouveau bouquet. So it's a mix, a blending of both tropical flowers and temperate flowers. It's really wonderful that on the island now we're seeing a lot more of temperate flowers being grown. And the flowers actually in this bouquet are all Maui grown. So we have these curcumas, which really started my whole inspiration for this program. And it was probably the hardest thing to find, but we did get it. And there's 2 curcumas here, one in a lavender and one in a more sunset color. Then we have pincushions. If you look deep into the bouquet, this is a Leucospermum Louis Miguel and Crimson Comet in here. And it's a really perfect blending of the flowers and introduces many of the colors. It's all done in a spiral hand tie. And this bouquet has mainly dahlias of all different colors. And the palette is just perfect because you can mix, the colors are all bridged by this curcuma. And you have this beautiful dahlia from Kula Dahlia Farm.
So here at Kula Dahlia Farm, I am mainly focused on dahlias. Dahlias are my passion, and that's what we grow.
For me, growing dahlias is, it gives me just such a huge sense of fulfillment. And I really feel like every day I like get up and I get to do what I love. I get to do something that spreads joy and happiness into my community. And I also receive that tenfold, you know, just by like the stories I hear from people. And yeah, there's just nothing like it. We are going to continue to expand. We're going to continue to grow. I am a new farmer, but so there is endless opportunity for me to learn and improve every season.
So for our next design, here we have a formolinear piece, which has has this Musa velutina. So it's an ornamental banana and the most perfect gingers. So this is Alpinia Purus White. And it's just absolutely perfect. And we got these over in Hana from Olopava Farms. And this property is just so beautiful. It's magical in that the climate is just perfect for gingers.
This is Olopava Farms. We're located in the Ka'eleku district of Hana, and we started our farm in 1983 planting heliconias and ginger. And we're growers and exporters. The crops we specialize mainly is ginger. We're very big growers of ginger. I think the reason that we're really lucky that our flowers look so good and are so healthy, we're really blessed with great soil here, deep soil that's got a lot of cinder in it, so we have fantastic drainage. And we also have quite a bit of rainfall, so we don't really experience much of a drought condition here. And we also have a cloud cover almost every day here, because ginger doesn't like a lot of bright sun, especially the lighter colors. They get sunburned really easily. And now that we're growing a white ginger, we're having pretty good luck because of the cloud cover, because that's very difficult to grow. But we're really blessed, I'd say, with the soil, and the conditions are really, that's a big aid to what we've been able to do here, because it's made the quality of our ginger just really very good. We're very lucky.
I am personally getting drawn back into formolinear design, where the simplicity of the product really is showcased, and selecting the product becomes very important. Where you can see the beautiful line of the costas and how that has movement, and it's a soft movement, and then you have the tension here of the dry koa branch, and then you come back to the undulation of the calathea leaf. I think that kind of sums up when we're selecting product, we need to select for those properties, but also what I'd like to stress is knowing when to edit. A lot of times there's a lot of branches or a lot of excess leaves that if you edit that out, your arrangement becomes so much stronger. I could really see this in a Kama'aina estate.
Grown with aloha, Hawaii's flowers and plants are enjoyed around the world. Family-owned farms, nurseries, and distributors are a vital part of Hawaii's economy. The Hawaii Floriculture and Nursery Association's guidebook, with photos and information on hundreds of varieties, is available via email request to order Hawaii Neotropica Guide at gmail.com. And in Hawaii, using locally grown flowers and plants helps to avoid imported invasive species harmful to agriculture and the environment. Hawaii is a valued source of unique and desirable flowers and plants. Enjoy the splendor of nature with the Spirit of Hawaii Neotropica.